Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Qalandar Khan. And yes, not to forget, we're here to give you all information and updates with regard to sports across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That goes for Instagram and Twitter. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. Karachi Kings lose on home ground against Lahore Qalandars on Sunday. And PCB demands written guarantee from India for the T20 World Cup. And from the world of golf, Colin Morikawa actually manages to win the WGC title. We'll be talking about that. And from the world of Premier League, Liverpool actually managed to win against Sheffield United 2-0. All right, so those were the headlines, and as you know, the PSL is still lit. It's on fire. It's happening, and a lot of things are happening with regards to the PSL, and we are actually enjoying it. The matches have been so far so good, and the history that has actually been established so far is pretty much 90% or 95% of the matches are those that actually the other teams managed to chase. And not to forget that the score was very, very high. Karachi Kings managed to have 186 for 9, where Lahore Qalandars actually managed to have to chase that at 189 for 4. But anyways, to further discuss this, we have with us our analyst, Shariar Malik. Shariar, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Shariar, how do you see the PSL journey so far? Let's start with Karachi Kings and Lahore Qalandars.
Well, it's great going. Everything's perfect as we all were waiting for to see these matches.
Right.
But there's a sad thing. Everything is being chased. Tosses playing a major part in this PSL, I guess.
Right.
But yesterday, Karachi was on the course to win the match.
Right.
Until Wiese came and he smashed 9 balls, 31 runs.
Right.
And Mohammad Amir getting the major chunk of it in the second last over.
Right.
So it was very good to see a competitive match again. And scores above 180, 190 being chased throughout the tournament, and it's good for the game as well. People here are come to see boundaries and wickets all the time, so entertainment all the time.
Yeah, entertainment all the time, and not to forget that initially the attendance that was allowed was 20%. So now if you really want to go check out, if we can go, we surely would go, because it's 50% attendance now. And that has actually added a lot of value. We totally do understand that the COVID protocols are still being followed. But yet again, like you said, the entertainment level is rising.
Yes, it is rising. And in playoffs, I've heard 100% attendance has been allowed. So it's a big thing that is coming up. We'll see full house in Lahore, inshallah. It's sad though we cannot have matches in Rawalpindi, so we cannot go ourselves.
Right.
But we'll try maybe to go to Lahore and watch the matches, because
I think we should plan something to go and watch the finals or the semis.
Yes, we should, because it's very entertaining stuff that's going on. But I think when the matches will come to Lahore, things might change a little bit because the conditions will change. So batting first may be helpful in those conditions, unlike Karachi tracks.
So how is the Lahore condition that you just mentioned? Obviously, Karachi, as we see, is something that all teams have actually managed to change. Even though realistically looking at 186 is not a small number. It's a huge score with regards to T20. If I'm
yes,
not
it is, of course. But maybe I feel dew is playing its part.
Right.
Catches are dropped because of dew. The bowlers cannot grip the ball like we saw Mohammad Hasnan.
Right.
When he bowled, he gave away 5 runs in the last over.
Right.
And things are happening. Catches are being dropped, and the chase is easy when the dew is on, because the bowlers can't grip the ball. But in Lahore, we expect there'll be less dew, I guess. So the bowlers will be having more grip on the ball.
Right.
It will be a little different game in Lahore, I guess.
Right. Talking about bowlers, talk about the player of the match, Shaheen Shah Afridi.
Yes, Shaheen Shah, what can we say? He's improving day by day, getting the big wicket of Babar Azam.
Right.
And what can we say? He's the best bowler around in Pakistan right now.
True.
Not in Pakistan only, but if we say that he's best top, he can be in top 5 in international level right at the moment.
True. But not only that, we were talking the amount of new talent the new emerging talent that you have seen through the PSL. How do you see the journey for
Yes,
them?
exactly. I'll name a few people. Dahani from Multan,
True.
Arshad from Karachi. He's a very promising bowler himself.
Right.
But the sad part is that we're not getting any batsmen. What we lack is to have emerging player category batsmen.
But don't
Quite-
you see Rizwan proving his worth every time, because Rizwan is at the journey of proving himself as a batsman as well.
Exactly. I never trusted Rizwan with T20 capabilities, but
Right.
he stunned not only us, but I think the whole world, the way he played in New Zealand as well, then South Africa series. Now he's performing in PSL, the way he's performing. Look at his strike rate, look at his runs, chunk of runs he's scoring for his team. So it's very encouraging to see Mohammad Rizwan play, but at the same time, it's a little sad to see all the players, those who got chance at international level, they couldn't capitalize it. Now they're performing in
Yes.
PSL very regularly. We
Not
hope-
performing. Let's talk about Heather Ali. We were discussing
Top of the list.
exactly, because we had a lot of hope when playing against New Zealand.
New
if I'm
Zealand,
not-
of course.
So where do you see Heather? Because now when I see him performing, the way he keeps his eye on the ball, the way he lifts those sixes up, why is it that when an international team is doing us, something really goes wrong with them?
That's I'm not sure about. Last time we also talked about this. We said that maybe there's something wrong with the coaching staff. Maybe there's something wrong in the wickets we are having in Pakistan.
Right.
But it's entertaining to see such players coming up and performing, and we hope that now with every match they're gaining experience as well. So
Right.
maybe at one point they'll click in the international level as well. We see Haider Ali is one of it. Iftikhar Ahmed is
Right.
one. Asif Ali is another example of it.
True.
And now Sharjeel is performing really well, and we can hope maybe the way he's performing, maybe his comeback is near.
Right. But one thing that still is out there, and we seriously need to address that, is the fielding. The fielding part, like the other day we had Phil Salt on the show, and I was asking Phil the amount of misfields and miscatches that they actually had. But even then, Islamabad United managed to win. But, catches win matches is something that has been taught to us since we were kids.
Of course it is. We've been talking about it regularly on our programs as well, that our fielding is lacking somewhere. Then we talk that when we see fielders like Shadab, he's also from Pakistan, but he's on another level in fielding.
True.
But other fielders who are not performing well, so there is some problem. Fielding coach is a must in our side. I think we can hope we can have a fielding coach soon, and hopefully things will improve, inshallah.
There was this one specific point that we did have a fielding coach, for our international team.
Yes,
But then
really
it was-
held it off.
Yeah, it did. But the point is, right now we still see amazing batting line, we see amazing bowling line, but we still have that question mark over the fielding.
With fielding and on batting as well. I'm not very confident of our batting
I
at
think
international levels.
I think we
guess.
should send Shariar to start batting for our team. But anyway, Shariar, let's talk about the previous match before this, Islamabad United versus Peshawar Zalmi, because if we talk about the chart right now, the Pakistan Super League standing, so Peshawar Zalmi is still on top, right? And the second one is Lahore, then third is Karachi, fourth Islamabad, and then Multan. So how do you see Peshawar Zalmi making that victory against Islamabad United? Obviously, I'm sure you supported Islamabad United. That's why.
Yes, I was.
Yes.
But I feel there is something lacking in the captaincy of Shadab Khan. He's shuffling the batting order regularly. I don't know why don't they stick to one batting order.
Right.
He's himself coming 1 down, 2 down, and then he sent Fahim Ashraf 2 down
Right.
yesterday as well. He should stick to one batting order. Fahim Ashraf, even if he's in form, I think he shouldn't be sent above 6th number. He should be in a role of finisher. So when you're shuffling your batting this much, the role of batsman, they themselves get confused. So they
Right.
shouldn't be shuffled that much. The captaincy of Shadab and Sarfaraz also,
Right.
I think they both are lacking something. Sarfaraz is very vocal in his captaincy. We've seen him scolding Shaheen
Right.
Usman Shinwari
Yeah,
and
yeah.
other bowlers as well, Zahid Khan as well. So he should calm down a little bit, and Shadab should also calm down a little bit and go with the proper plan instead of shuffling the batting order.
Well, the biggest plus that we have right now is that we can, inshallah, we're hoping for a solid team that we're looking at for our T20. But talking about T20 World Cup, let's go to that part of the story, because T20 World Cup is planned in India. And PCB has now asked for a written guarantee from India with regards to the protection of the team and the players, which is definitely going to be not only the players, all our staff that would actually go, because it's going to be technically very hard. And they've even said that, if you can't assure us in this month. We'll request, the teams to not participate and maybe switch it somewhere else. So how do you see that evolving, that story?
The PCB has done really the right thing, because you never know with the Hindu fanatics that are operating in India, what can happen. So this is the right thing we've done, and we should get a response from India soon. Otherwise, maybe ICC is all capable to shifting the event to some other country.
Right, but BCCI, has how tricky they are when it comes to their statements. I still remember them trying to play tricky with Australia in Australia because of the fact. Remember the COVID situation. But do you think that they'll manage to? Because ICC has also said that we may consider, but it's not final yet. We're still it's just a developing story with regards to the protection of the players. But do you think BCCI will manage to make a proper deal with regards to the protection of the players?
Yeah, I think they will, because this is a big tournament. They cannot afford to lose this tournament. And if Pakistan is not coming, Pakistan is a big team. Right. And everybody wants to see good teams compete with each other. So they have to do something, and they will do something. I'm quite sure about it. Right.
So there's definitely, I just recently was going through, and apparently there's this new stadium that came out and in India. But unfortunately, obviously, the situation is that Modi had to take his name associated with the stadium. But there's so many things happening in India with regards to. But security for any player, I guess, is mandatory. Even now, players are coming to Pakistan because we, as the nation, or as the government or the PCB, assures the team members that they'll, for their safety and stuff.
Yes, exactly. Without security, no player would be encouraged to go and visit some other country. So this is the priority. All the people that are traveling, even the staff, they should be given security first, and then they will travel to India.
Right. So let's hope the situation sorts with regards to the PCB, and we hear from the BCCI with regards to the protection of the players that's needed. But anyways, let's talk about how do you see the future of PSL in a quick verdict before we go?
Well, I think Karachi and Islamabad will be moving up a bit in the charts, I guess. Let's see how things go up, and
so
things will be very
he's
different.
Definitely favoring Islamabad. I'm sure that's the reason. But anyway, besides that, how do you see Zalmi? Because Zalmi is still on top.
Zalmi is still on top, and they're doing very good. But I feel there's always a chance. Might be Zalmi slips in the main events.
Anyways, thank you, Sharyar, for being with us. And this was the major update with regards to cricket. Surely talk about more after the break. And welcome back, everybody. Yes, so we were basically talking more about cricket initially, but obviously that was before the break. But I will definitely switch over to the world of golf, and not to forget that the WGC title actually finally came to a conclusive side. Well, Colin Morikawa actually managed to grab that, and he's the second person who actually managed to get it under the age of 25. The first one was Tiger Woods. To discuss this entire perspective of the WGC title and its history behind it, we have an amateur golf player, Bilal Tariq, with us. Bilal, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So Bilal, let's talk about obviously this WGC title that actually happened and how Colin Morikawa actually managed to grab it. And with the prize money of, we were just talking off here how, it's like the next level of some money for like athletes out there. So how do you see this WGC title, and how did it roll to a point where it is like right now?
I think first of all, it's important to reiterate about the important aspects of the World Golf Championships itself.
Right.
So we've got 4 editions of the World Golf Championships that take place in the course of the calendar.
Right.
This specific tournament, which was earlier scheduled to be played in Mexico, was instead played in Florida due to the ongoing COVID conditions.
Right.
As you said, this is one of the most important golfing events on the golfing calendar. It's probably next to the majors, and has a prize money of around $10.5 million, which according to the exchange rate that we have at the moment comes to around 1.8 billion Pakistani rupees.
Wow.
So as I was saying, so this first edition took place in Florida, and Colin Morikawa was only 24 years old.
Right.
Managed to become the winner of the tournament at the age of 24 years.
So so what's his history as a golfer? I mean, like, has he been this solid and strong? I mean, like, he's only 24 as discussed. So does he have any other titles associated to him?
Colin Morikawa was actually one of the fastest rising amateur golfers in the world.
Right.
In the year 2018, he was probably ranked the #1 golfer for a period of 3 weeks.
Right.
So coming into the major tournament and starting his golfing career as a professional,
Right.
there was a lot of hue and cry with regard to Colin Morikawa making the professional stands.
Right.
The important thing is that he has a lot of notable achievements at just the tender age of 24.
Right.
He won the PGA Championship, which is one of the golfing majors at the age of 24, which was his debut. He's
The PGA Championship.
The PGA Championship,
Right.
which took place in the year 2020.
Right.
He is the only golfer after Tiger Woods to have won the PGA Championship on his debut.
Wow.
And considering that he shot a final round of, I think, probably 64 and made an eagle on a par 4 on the 16th hole, made the win all the more incredible,
Wow.
considering his age.
So, looking at, obviously, initially when we used to talk about golf and the association of golf, people used to say that, golf is all about, when elders come and, they'd rather want to have that feeling of, only playing and just chilling. But now things have literally evolved for golf. How do you see the evolution of golf? Because I see youngsters, even like you yourself, as I was discussing with you, you started playing golf at the age of 14, right? So from 14 till the journey that you have right now, people have started to realize how important golf is, and it's not just a leisure game. It's not a leisure game. People are focused more on the fitness side and, seeing someone winning at the age of 24. How do you see the evolution of golf now with regards to that?
Well, I think you're right, because otherwise golf as a sport was synonymous with people over the age of 40 or 50,
Right.
With port bellies or otherwise healthy people otherwise.
Right.
But I think since the advent and debut of Tiger Woods at the age of 20 in the year, I think, 1997, he's completely changed the dynamics and the nature of golf itself.
Right.
Considering that in his debut year, he won numerous tournaments.
Right.
One of his focus in sports was not the mental aspect or the otherwise technicalities involved in the game of golf,
True.
but he majorly focused on the physical aspect of golf by itself.
Right.
Considering that he was, if you compare with other sports, tennis, NFL, rugby,
Right.
and you consider Tiger Woods in isolation and only look at his physical prowess, he could be considered as one of the finest athletes in terms of his physical capabilities.
Right.
So that was, I think, one dimension which encouraged and inspired a lot of youngsters to take up the game, which they would have otherwise, been taken up by tennis or basketball
Or
other
cricket,
sports.
because that's what happens, specifically
Or cricket
in
for that
Pakistan.
matter, especially in Pakistan.
In Pakistan, we're like totally all into cricket, and you were discussing off air that we wish we had started playing golf back then, and Anyways, let's come up to your journey as a golfer. But before coming to your journey as a golfer, I'd rather want to talk about Tiger Woods, because we still have, obviously, Tiger Woods had this terrible accident, and everybody around from all across the globe was really, really upset, and you could see a lot of different officials tweeting for him in his favor, and luckily he managed to survive, but obviously with a lot of injuries. How do you see Tiger Woods making a comeback? Because for an athlete, as you mentioned, the first good thing is that at least he managed to survive. Will his career be doomed or not is one question which everybody is asking these days, because yes, the injuries are pretty, it would take some time for him to recover. How do you see his journey on the road to recovery about this?
I think, first of all, with regards to Tiger Woods, the global appeal that Tiger Woods has as a golfer, it's not only linked to golf, because if you compare him with other athletes, be it Michael Jordan or Michael Schumacher or Messi,
Right.
so Tiger Woods comes within the pantheon of sporting stars who, although he might be a golfer, but such is his global appeal that he's associated, he's more known as an athlete
Right.
globally otherwise.
Right.
It was unfortunate, but at the same time, we are very lucky to have him alive, considering the nature of his accident,
True.
Which took place last week.
True.
It was a very serious accident. It almost resulted in numerous fractures on his lower right leg.
Right.
But fortunately for the world of golf and otherwise, Tiger Woods is alive.
True.
According to the recent medical prognosis, although we can't say as to when he'll return to the golfing calendar,
Right.
but considering the nature of his injuries, it might be a couple of months at least.
So there's a big difference with anybody, a normal human being who's not into any sport, for instance. He or she goes through some accident, right? And then there's this one person who's into fitness or any athleticism or anything associated to, workout and stuff. With regards to their body responding to any actions or any accidents and stuff, the recovery is definitely faster. And for a clean athlete or an athlete like Tiger Woods, I'm sure he's like all focused. Considering the idea, the amount of the accident footage that we actually saw was literally very terrifying. For someone who probably would not have been an athlete would probably have to, go through a longer period of time to, make that recovery. How do you see that in terms of athletes?
I think one thing to note about Tiger Woods is that even before this accident took place, in the month of December, he actually had the 5th surgery on his back.
True.
And even otherwise, he wasn't playing for the last few months, as he was probably getting up for the Masters, which takes place in April.
Right.
But in this entire journey of golf for Tiger Woods, he's probably had 4 to 5 back surgeries, which has been very, very, very serious.
Wow.
He's had numerous surgeries on his left knee, on his left leg. But that is to say that during the course of his career, which has probably spanned more than 20 years,
Right.
the constant practice, the running, and considering the Tiger Woods' own physical limitations
Right.
that he peaked at, it had taken a toll on his body. And before he won, probably made the biggest comeback in sport when he won the Masters in the year 2019. Even before that, I think Tiger Woods was probably laid off with injuries for the last 2 years, even before that.
Yeah, I've been definitely reading about his history as an athlete, and him going through a lot of surgeries and back issues. Considering the Genesis Invitational, Tiger Woods obviously was hosting that event, and he did not play in that event because of his back injury, as discussed. And let's focus on Max Homa. How do you see the Genesis event that took place in Riviera? How did that turn out to be, and how positive was it for Max Homa?
So something firstly about the Genesis Invitational.
Right.
This is a tournament which is exclusively hosted by Tiger Woods for the last many years.
Right.
This is, I think, one of the aspects of Tiger Woods in terms of the corporate social responsibility,
Right.
or otherwise, the way Tiger can contribute for the development and for the betterment of golf, and
Right.
probably would want to inspire other golfers to take up the game.
Right.
But the Genesis Invitational takes place in Los Angeles in the United States.
Right.
Max Homa, who otherwise is known, for having the best sense of humor on tour,
Right.
is ironically also a resident of Los Angeles.
Okay.
And so this is probably the first tour victory for Max Homa
Right.
at the Genesis Invitational. And considering that Max Homa always idealized Tiger Woods growing up,
Right.
who's also from California, so it made the victory even sweeter for him.
Right. Playing at a golf course, I'm sure, as you mentioned, that the same environment. Let's talk about you as a golfer. For instance, as you said, Max Homa is lived in the same area. So the same environment, does it have the same effect as we talk about cricket, that home ground edge? Does that work in golf as well?
I think definitely, because considering that Max Homa, started playing his youth golf in Los Angeles and in California.
Right.
If you compare the climate of California and compare it to, say, the East Coast or in other parts of the America, because that itself is a huge continent,
Right.
You sort of adhere to the, the climate and the local conditions. And with golf, playing in different regions in different parts of the world, every golf course has a different nature of greens, the fairways, the rough.
Right.
So definitely a player has an added advantage if playing in the proximate area of where one belongs to.
Okay, so the last question, which surely I'll just ask more about you yourself as a golfer. How was your journey, and how is your journey so far as a golfer in Pakistan?
Well, I took up the game at the age of 14. Golf in Pakistan hasn't taken off that really well.
True.
In Pakistan, we usually have golf courses in the cantonment areas of the country.
Right.
But I think in the last 10 to 12 years, it has really taken off. The Pakistan Golf Federation has taken a lot of steps. They've introduced the Faldo series,
Right.
which is a program to encourage and inspire local golfers to take up the game of golf.
Right.
Even otherwise, then we've had corporate sponsors. One name that I could probably take is Loco Golf, which
Right.
is an initiative started by Wing Commander Khokhar and his
Yes,
family.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But that is one side, we don't have a lot of corporate sponsorship in golf, but that is one area where they encourage a lot of corporate golfers to partake in such activities.
Right. Anyways, we'll cut it short now. But thank you so very much, Bilal, for being with us on the show and discussing the element and adding your wisdom towards the golf itself. And there's one more news besides golf that I'll just give to my viewers. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Anyways, so we talk more about the world of Premier League. Yes, Liverpool actually defeated Sheffield United by 2-0 on Sunday. We surely want to talk about that. Not to forget that 4 of the 5 teams above Liverpool have actually failed to win this weekend. And if we actually look at the standings, because that is something that I still want to, not to forget that Manchester City is still on the top. And it's going to be very tricky for any country, for any club actually to reach that point. Even Manchester United is way behind Manchester City, and Manchester City has actually managed to win previous 5 ones. But anyways, Liverpool is still struggling. They're trying their level best to come up to a point of the top 4, even though right now Liverpool is on the 6th in the table. But anyways, let's hope all goes well with regards to the Premier League and for all the teams that are actually struggling for the top 4. Anyways, if you guys want to reach out to us, you surely can reach out to us on social media handles, which is @the rate of Indus News Sports. Till then, take good care of yourself and bye-bye.